Okay, if you don't know, the James Harden drama, he don't want to be in Houston or no in Philly no more. I don't know where he's going. People saying the Suns. I say no, hell no, fuck no, because bro be quitting on teams, and I don't want him on the Suns. Why would we want him there? Bro wants to play his style of basketball. What does that even mean, bro? Eh,
Is a liar,
yeah,
and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of.
okay.
Let me say it again.
I'm pretty sure it has to do with
Daryl
the money,
Morey
right?
is a
Because they
liar,
promised
and I
him,
will
I think.
never be a part of an organization that he's a part of.
Jesus Christ, James. What a mess you have just made. Thank you. This offseason has been really boring, so I
Quite.
appreciate it. You have single-handedly turned this ship around. Let's talk about it.
Dun, 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 dun. I don't know why that's stuck in my head.
Real quick before I get into this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and drop a like. It only takes 1 second and it makes a massive difference in how the video performs over in the YouTube algorithm. James Harden has decided he was going to make a huge mess of things for the 76ers. I recently did a second channel video reacting to the fact that the Sixers reportedly are going to be bringing him into training camp, and I talked about how that could potentially get ugly given James Harden's track record of making things ugly, whether that be through comments to the media or literally making himself look worse as an athlete. So with that said, I didn't exactly anticipate he would prove me correct on that potentially being an issue literally less than 24 hours after the video was posted, because James of course publicly said, knowing full well that it would make the rounds on the internet and would hopefully, at least from his perspective, put pressure on the Sixers front office. And yeah, it's really messy. The first thing I want to talk about is just quickly speculating on what James could potentially have an issue with as it regards to Daryl, because they have obviously had a very long-standing relationship. Really, I can't think of a if he didn't take between a GM and a player that has been more prominent in recent NBA history. When Daryl was over there in Houston, they seemed to be on the same page, and then he ends up going to the Sixers, at least maybe not primarily because of Daryl Morey, but in very large part because of Daryl Morey. And he goes there, and within a year and a half, he has sworn off Daryl Morey as a person, as someone he would ever want to work with, and of course, by extension, sworn off working with the 76ers. So any concern that he may cause issues going into this season, well, it was a warranted concern. Now, a lot of people have speculated that what it could be is contract stuff, because of course, James famously took a little bit of a pay cut in this recent offseason. In fact, I think he picked up a player option instead of signing an extension, something along those lines. And there is a small chance, at least, that Daryl perhaps screwed James out of some money. But I also would put the option on the table that James has been such a character, such a guy recently, that I do wonder how much legitimacy there is to this, or if his ego has just completely misrepresented this entire situation. Now, as you well know, if you watched my Damian Lillard Blazers video, which many of you didn't, but if you did, you would know that I am almost always on the side of the player in a situation like this. But in this situation in particular, even I must admit that this is a little bit messier than I think anyone should ever do. Don't get me wrong, I am very pro autonomy, and if James Harden does not want to be in Philadelphia, then I don't think James Harden should have to be in Philadelphia. True. That said, this move to force Philly's hand is a very messy move, and apparently Daryl is not even moved by it and intends to keep James, so things should get even messier as a result. But let's talk about this track record for James, because if there was any player that I think has pushed the limits of what player empowerment really should be, it has been James, because not only has he left a lot of teams in the past couple of years under very bad circumstances and on very short notice relative to when he got there. But the way in which he has chosen to do this has just been so messy, so destructive for those franchises, and so destructive for his very own career and reputation. Because regardless of how you may feel about how much freedom players should have to be wherever they want to be, there is very much a stigma associated with the type of player who just points to where he wants to go and he gets to go there every single time and then just ends up making a mess of it anyways. What does it say about your reputation as a basketball player if every team that you are going to after leaving the Rockets regrets having traded for you? Because I guarantee you the Nets regret having traded for James, and at this point I'm quite confident the Sixers regret it. Who's to say that the Clippers, for example, will not regret it in the same exact
He's going
way
to the Clippers
a year and a half from now if that ends up being what transpires. Maybe even less with James, because who knows? In terms of just completely torpedoing your reputation as a player, James Harden has done a damn good job of that in the past few years. Because while people will judge James for his mistakes on the court, that's ultimately basketball, and there's mistakes that were made, overblown for sure in James's part in many respects, but ultimately that's just the basketball. We're not judging you as a person when you suck in game 7. I mean, some people will. Some people will. Some people will send your family death threats, but in general, you can't criticize someone's character too strongly just because they, went 3 for 17 in a game 7 or whatever. However, being very messy with your relationship with front offices, that's a great way to do it. Now, whether or not he should be able to do something like this, it comes with that stigma. It comes with the stigma for what he's associated with for the rest of his career, and it also comes with the stigma for teams that would hypothetically trade for James. Not many GMs are going to be hopping to the stand to take on James just in time for him to stab them in the back in a very short amount of time. Even if James is correct to some degree or another in this interaction, because we don't really know what went down behind closed doors, getting this done in this fashion is ultimately one that is going to make teams not want to touch James with a 10-foot pole.
I don't even want him on the Suns.
From a business standpoint,
I'm like,
I don't even think this was a good decision from Harden, because sure, maybe this means he will not be playing for Philly next year, but by the time he's up for his next contract, by the time he wants to be somewhere else, is there even a singular team that's going to be super interested in trading for James?
With new Scope Squeeze mouthwash concentrate, add
Hey,
water.
yo. Don't come here interrupting my stuff. Fuck out the way.
Or B, extending him to maximum money, which it seems like may be his grievance with Daryl here. If trying to achieve that, if trying to get that kind of money was the goal,
I was watching Speaking, they were like, how can we give you max money if you're not a max player?
In the mud. Big mistake on his part if that was what he was trying to attempt. But as for Philadelphia, concerns about things being awkward are currently at an all-time high.
Because Embiid said
there's no doubt that they are going to be. Luckily, it seems that James's grievance with the Sixers turns out to be not the team in any capacity, but rather Daryl himself. So I do almost wonder if potentially Daryl would lose his job in order to keep James Harden. I don't know if I'm gonna bet on that, because ultimately, as short as some of these moves that he has made has landed, he ultimately took the roster from a significantly worse point where he found it and brought them much further, got Joel Embiid that MVP, got them a few 50-win seasons, James Harden, of course, which seemed like a good idea at first, but of course doesn't now. So he's overall done his job fine, and from a front office perspective, not giving a player who probably shouldn't have max money is a move that's probably going to look favorably on him, because frankly, especially after this move by James, it's going to look like it's smart not to give that guy max money. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to result in anyone being fired. I think James is ultimately going to be traded, as I thought
Probably.
he was going to, one way or the other. But this is messy. This is very, very messy, and I just don't know if it was the right decision on the part of James to go about it this way. And if they actually play this year, if James Harden actually suits up for the 76ers, it's gonna be an entertaining disaster, more likely than not. You know, a house fire that you can't look away from, a 15-car pileup on the highway. Truly bad. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this. We'll see what comes of it. But that was it. Shout out to Rudy for editing this video, and goodbye.
Bye. Bye. Hold on, I wasn't done. I was going to check out the comments.
Look, it's
Even in the off season, Sixers fans just can't catch a break. That's true, because Embiid was like, I want to win a championship. If it's here, it's here. If it's not, it's not. And I'm going to leave you with that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also follow the Twitch. Bye.